evening, good morning.
Good morning.
Evening somewhere. How y'all doing?
Real good.
Good. I'm going to go over some stuff before we get started, as always, and make sure that we are. Oh, yeah, we got to mute that on the bottom right side. I'm sorry. You got it? Yeah. Well, we got to make sure that I want us to win, right?
Mm-hmm.
I say this all the time.
No.
Okay. My man, Jay Lee, up in the house. Good. I want you to see what I'm going to talk about. My goal is to make sure that our company is not a fad or a group. Y'all get what I'm saying? Yeah. You can get church groups, you can get little social cliques and all that, but this is about making money. Mm-hmm. This is a business. We have to operate like business owners and then fellowship and have fun while operating as business owners. So as I go to the basics again, because it's so simple, we all know this basic concept. You, 3 people, money, correct?
Right.
So that's all we do. Then we help those 3 go do the same. If they do it right, we know that is $5,000 per month. Mm-hmm. Per month, with an exclamation. So we got this down. What we have to do is we have to TTP, which is talk to people. You might want to write that down. Because if you're not TTPing and talking to people about JMG, the people will be like, I'm talking to folks, I'm talking about this. NSTP, which is show the plan, things won't happen right. So I want to play a quick video so that we can kind of get the idea. It's the penny that doubles. So when I go into what I'm going to talk about real quick here, y'all will get it and understand it and be like, okay, this all makes sense.
In order to do this, I want you to pretend that I can grant you one wish from 2 choices. Choice 1 is this: I will give you $1 million. Or choice 2 is that you get 1 cent that doubles every day for 31 days. On top of that, you have to drive 1 hour north to meet a friend of mine named Vendela. She will double your cent and give you 2 cents, and then you have to drive all the way back home. Then on day 2, you take your 2 cents back to Vendela, and she doubles your 2 cents and gives you 4 cents, and then you drive back. Well, you do this every day for 31 days. Which would you choose? $1 million or 1 cent doubled every day? Well, as a factory worker, it wasn't even a contest. $1 million for me, please. Who wants to run around for pennies? Here is where we find out that ignorance is not bliss. If you have a calculator, you can follow along and check it out for yourself. In day 1, you have 1 cent. Day 2, you double it and you have 2 cents. Day 3, you double it and you get 4 cents. That doubles and becomes 8 cents. And by the 10th day, you'll have $5.12. How embarrassing if you took the penny a day. Let's look at the 11th day. $5.12 doubles and becomes $10.24. Then it doubles and becomes $20.48. Then it doubles and becomes $40. And in the 20th day, that doubles and becomes $5,242.88. Well, it's still not looking too good if you chose the penny. But what happens in the 21st day? 5,000 doubles and becomes 10,000. 10 doubles and becomes 20. And on the 28th day, $671,000 doubles and becomes $1.3 million. But wait a minute, we didn't agree to 28 days. We agreed to 31 days. And so on the 29th day, 1.3 doubles becomes 2.6 million. The 30th day, 2.6 million becomes 5.3 million. And in the final day of our agreement, day 31, $5,368,709.12 doubles, which is $10,737,418.20. Now who's laughing all the way to the bank? This is what the smartest man in the world, Albert Einstein, said when he was asked what he thought was one of the most powerful things on earth. He said that the 8th wonder of the world was compound interest. And so here's how we can make compound interest work for you.
So we need to see that on a regular. You jack down your seat to it. I'm just going to put you on. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Jack your seat. I'm not saying nothing about it. I'm just saying something about it.
Like it's church.
Yeah. Take my seat in church. They know I'm right in front behind Pastor breathing on his neck. You know, they know I walk in there late. They know Mr. Jones up at the front. Okay, the My Financial Work that doubles. Senior directors, pay attention. What I don't want to happen as we're building our business and we create a rah-rah excitement. And I say that to see when you already know what's to come, you're kind of more excited than everybody else, but you're just trying to preserve everything so when it comes right. And I'm like, this all is based on us building people and people understanding liabilities and assets. You know, your business is an asset to you, and an asset, PJ, what's an asset?
Something that adds up to it,
What's a liability?
something that takes it away.
Okay, you can go back and play. If I can teach my 7-year-old kid to be smarter than the average adult, you get my point? It's like he's got his games on, huh? Something that adds to you. It's like, it ain't, I'm not gonna go teach just it from my books and all that. My daughter will break the My Financial Service down as far as the daily budget tracker and all of that. You know, she's 17, but I make sure she don't use it every day, which I don't say she does, but she understands the concept so that she'll never be broke. You know, we are teaching adults. What I found is it's almost easier to teach younger folks than adults.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there saying, I'm showing you how to become a millionaire. Wake up and pay attention, because this is real. We have something so simple that I'm sitting there like, man, it's not hard. If a 7-year-old kid can break down compound interest, which he could if I would have just let him loose, you know, he can come up and train. Why? Because at home, I'm sitting there saying, hey, man, this is how money works. This is how this works. This is how that works. So that when he's 10 years old, I'm hoping he's in the schoolyard saying, look, you know, $2 each team. Listen, right with the numbers, man. You know, but it's like we got to go through that. I'm not going to go through all of this. I just want you to see the My Financial work as a senior director. Remember, you get unlimited levels. So boom, boom, just like the penny, but now you're doubling more than a penny. So as that grows, it's growing. It's like, look, you got 1,600, 1,200, 2,000, 4,000. That's residual income if you're doubling as a senior director. You know, 39,000. Can you double enough to get $39,000 a month? You're not even halfway. Y'all see the big picture of what we have? Because I want you to realize that if you see it the way I see it, then you'll probably act the way I act. Because I sometimes act bananas, and I look at numbers and I'm like, you know, we finished this month off good, but nowhere as close. It was kind of a normal month to last year. And it's like, no, we actually have some goals. So I need to touch bases with the leaders and say, look, y'all, this is huge. What we have is big, and it's ours. It's not nobody else's, it's ours. And it's up to us to go make it. Like I always said, you have $1 billion idea, but your schedule makes it $1 billion. So from here, we build on 78,000. Who would like to know that they get 157,000 residual for the month? You know, keep going. 314,000. 600, $1 million. So right here, we passed the concept of the penny that doubles. But we keep going. 20 million, 40 million, 80 million, 161 million, 322 million. Total that up, senior directors are paid 2% on limited level. Will you double a level for 30 days a day? You will make $644 million. So when I say we're going to be $1 billion company, you best believe I'm speaking from experience. See, I want you to understand, that's why I had my wife pull out the schedule and everything, because I want people to get it. This was my schedule in May of 1999. Every day there was appointments, or it says something on there we traveling. But you got to realize I was in this thing for real. So as I look at that, and I was going through and say, okay, all of this happens. You got growth happening. You know, then I realized that I said, okay, well, we got to know our product. We got to know our business, because that was telecom. So as I go into this and say, okay, well, you know, what will we do to build? Because what's wanted here? For me, wanted 3 full-time GMG reps. Pays weekly, $5,000 per month base, paid vacation, company car, major potential for unlimited growth. So I'm not saying you, the individual, need to be full-time. I'm saying do me a favor and get me the person that wants to be full-time. They must have common sense, they cannot be trifling, and they must have a strong work ethic. I will work sun up to sundown with that individual. I won't play president and CEO and all of that. I don't have time. I'm going to schedule for success because, see, in 1999, I had made $1 million. Y'all understand it? So my schedule every day was booked. So it was no such thing, hey, Paul, can you come over? Nope, my day is already booked. So I kept going, kept going, kept going. By 2001, I started in 98. By 2001, I had hit $1 million already. So looked up a payment stub from the old company from, what's that? October 2003. My total income by then was $354,000 in 2003. I finished that year at $500,000. Y'all get this? The year before was 200 and 300,000. So I'm looking at that. Then I'm like, okay. So by 2004, I cranked it up. My average monthly income was $61,000. That's what I did that month. That's me as a rep, not the company. The company didn't even make 60,000. I'm just shooting it straight. So can you put yourself in my shoes? I'm like, well, wait a minute. I had $60,000 a month by myself. I'm trying to convince people to make it a year. But I did it by myself without the overhead, without anything. Just said, you know what? All I did every day, I just went out and had my 3 people. I worked with them. They kept that schedule booked. What's the reality for me as I've been really thinking about this last week? I was full time. I didn't have nothing else taking my time. I dedicated myself to the dream versus talked about what I wanted about the dream. I became dedicated to the dream. So therefore, when your income grows and then you hit levels, keep in mind this is a $2 billion company, still they're telling you this boy is doing so much that he's now the #7 global income earner in the company. So there's a lot of old school guys that were in a long time, but they had not made as much as I made in that short amount of time. And you know how I did it? I played dumb. They're like, what? So many people want to play, oh, I understand how the intricacies of the business work, and you do it this way, you do it that way. And I'm just like, what? I'm like, no, man, just go get 3 people. And then what, when you sit down with them people, I was never trying to show how smart I was. You know, I never got into, at the same time, I was buying real estate property like crazy. Matter of fact, I learned that there was a law that if you're married and you try to sell it, your wife has to show up. That's how my wife found out I was buying real estate properties. That I was making so much money, fellas, that I could go buy 40 and 50 and $60,000 homes, $70,000 homes, and the money was never missed. Go do that. Go like, you know, I'm going to spend $100,000 on this house. And nobody even knows you did it because your bank account is so fat. But then try to sell it. I was like, wait, I bought it without her. You know, it's like, sorry. So she come through, and next thing you know, as I started selling them and turning them and flipping them, and all right, baby, I don't know all these properties too. You know, it's like, but it happened. But it didn't happen from the properties, it happened from this. So we're looking for 3 people who are saying, you know what, I'm ready to take that leap of faith and go for it. Because I already know when I look at this schedule, because it wasn't a hoax, you know, over time you can tell yourself, oh, that didn't really happen. But you know, I was looking on here where, I didn't bring this one where it shows just lines through the thing that says tour, which means now I'm on my bus. So it's like, but that was every day. It wasn't some promotion going on in the company. That's what I did for a living. You guys see that? It was my day to day. I took a good understanding that if I had to go to a day job every day, then this was my day job. So why go 9 to 5 someplace else when I knew that, well, I was really crazy. You know, obviously I get June here in school's time. But once you know you can do something that nobody else has done, then you go do it. So like this is what happened this week. William, weekly fast start. Antonio, weekly fast start. Congratulations, guys. What we need to do is be giving everybody weekly fast start. Us paying reps is proof of growth. Not giving, there was a few more that came in that I mailed, but they're still from this group though. You get my point? So we have to, every week, you have to set a pace and say, wait a minute, I gotta be getting a check every week. And I mean, senior directors, all raise your hands. Senior directors are above, raise your hands. Y'all get that? Look at that means your potential is $500 million in 30 days if you were to say, I'm fixing to go for it. $500 million. You are a part of something that will pay you $500 million if you go do it. Does that make sense to you? But most people are a part of something that will never pay them $1 million, no matter how dedicated they are to it. But you have something so unlimited that if you dedicate your time and your schedule to it and learn the intricacies of the business, meaning keeping it simple to people, your potential is $500 million, and that's residual. So yeah, it's a crazy number. Some people are like, well, it doesn't work that way. Leave that to the people who will never make $1 million. Because every person that told me it doesn't work that way, they never made $1 million anyway. So they wouldn't know. They're already salary capped themselves. So I'm telling you, I made $1 million in this industry. I didn't make it nowhere else. I lost it playing everywhere else, to be honest. I lost money playing everybody. Well, I made money in real estate too. I'm going to put that out there. But in this industry and working with people, and that's why we speak on motivation and inspiration and conquering your fear every day and every week in training, because the only thing that's holding you up from really having a 6-figure a month income is fear and schedule. That's it. No, I don't have the time. You better understand, every time you say you don't have the time, I'm hearing you say you don't have the time to become a millionaire. Or this person or that broke person frustrated you enough to not become a millionaire. So we have to be mindful to say, you know what, I'm going for it. So now, 4 elements of wealth. All of this is the foundation of what every person needs. In the next 60 days, we're going to increase our foundation. But because I'm now going to be dealing with a bigger corporate publicly traded entity, then I'm like, we can't be playing around. We have to be like, hey, get in this thing, let's go. Get in this thing, let's go. And it has to be quality people. If you go get broke Joe off the street, who when the wind blows, they change their mind, there's a scripture. Just go read all of James. It tells you what happened to rich people who get arrogant, the whole nine. But the first James 1-8 will break you down on doubt, break you down on disbelief, break you down on you will fall. But if you believe, you'll make it. So tax advice and return preparation, tax education, wealth creation, that's what creates wealth. Daily budget tracker. We need to manage our daily budget. If a young man can break down assets on the fly, not have to think twice about it, like, huh? You know what I mean? Then you got to realize that how many reps can break this down on the fly with our adult minds? Y'all get where I'm going with this? See, I want to ruffle our feathers enough to go get rich, but not to make you mad at me. I want you to go and just say, wait a minute. Even if you got kids, teach your kids this now. That's all I'm doing. That's where this whole thing came from. My own mistakes. Like, man, I made some mistakes. I made a whole bunch of money and made some mistakes. Okay, I'm gonna make sure my kids don't make this mistake. You know what I mean? Now, my friends that are close to me, I'm gonna make sure they don't make it. Then now, if I can advance out to other families and say, hey, I'll pay you to not make the same mistakes that I made at one time. So, at one time, I had tax issues. Can you imagine? You're making $60,000, $70,000 a month. You're putting that money in your pocket. You're like, shoot, I got what? You know what I mean? People don't even know what it's like to be like, we're just gonna fly here for a day. Go shopping for the day. Spend $100,000 that day and fly back and not flinch. Yeah, I had a lot of friends. I did. It's like I'm actually at a more wealthier spot right now as far as heart and mind. But I had to get rid of all those other ones that really went down. And I'm saying now we're at a point where I feel like I'm ready, man. This is crazy. It's like that wasn't a lie. I actually did that. That was a whole bunch of appointments sitting down. I got stood up on some of those appointments. I got laughed at on some of those appointments, but I went on to the next appointment anyway. You get that? So now I went from driving around in a car to getting a tour bus. So next thing you know, you're almost $1 million a year. And people were saying that stuff doesn't work. I'm telling you, if I as an individual can make almost $1 million a year, do you know the way I look at the company? You see where I say 5 million this year in sales? I'm like, if I could do $1 million by myself as a rep, sign up in another company. But I get it. I was the leader. I was the full-time dedicated leader. And understand this, that meant I freed a lot of people from needing jobs too. You can't get to that level without helping other people get to a level. Y'all get this? Daily budget tracker, debt payoff plan, credit restoration. Now, have y'all seen this timing and advertising, everything about it? Y'all seen that commercial, the movie that's coming out, Identity Theft?
Yeah.
Man, the minute I saw it, I was like, okay, back in the day, if I was a rep, I'd have went bananas. I want to say, man, even they making movies about my product. Y'all know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, late last night, I'm watching TV, and LifeLock shows the identity theft movie, and then does their pitch afterwards. And I was like, now see, I said I'd do the same thing. Now, they are $1 billion company. I want you to think about something and take it personal to you. What's wrong with you if that company can be $1 billion company selling the same product as you, and you couldn't put a rep in last week? Think about that. If they are making movies based on the #1 crime in the world, the #1 crime in the world is identity theft. There's a movie, we're victims of it. I remember last July, people started jacking the JMP account. That's real. So are we going to go and be more a little aggressive and say, hey, don't sit there and act like, you don't need this, you do. It's all created to make you wealthy. So I like the point of this saying, paid vacation, company car, major potential, unlimited growth, because at the end of the month, those who didn't do will have to stay back and train. Because this right here is the package for Mr. William Lockett to get on the cruise. Go ahead, brother. We got dang, your stuff in there too. Winfred ain't here today, but that's his package because he's going, and then his guests. So I'm just gonna go in and kind of show you. It's like, open this.
We can have mine's
Oh,
No,
sure,
mine
got hers open.
never mind, mine can go.
Okay. You tell Like, and I give you Winfred, you can give him his training Tuesday.
Yeah, even out of town. I'm going to call and say, I will be there. You know what you're looking for.
That's right. That's right. See, we got the luggage tags. Y'all understand? We're going to Cocoa Keys. We're going to Key West. We're going to the Bahamas. We're going to spend a weekend in Fort Lauderdale, in Miami. Prior. We're going to have a ball. But it was for everybody. You see what I'm saying? So all of this is done, paid for, and done with. We're moving to the future. This ain't something we're trying to figure this out. No, that's done. Been taken care of. Did that back in September. So I'm like, okay, well, we're leaving this month in February. So it's like, let me get everybody their doggy tags. Because we're about to go have a good time. But the trip was designed for everybody. And then we even said, if you do this much, or do this much, or do this much less, we want it. Don't stare at stuff, and then when it's freezing cold up there, be like, man, they out in the shit kicking. They down in Miami, Rick Ross and them. That's what it's about. Even little Mario is like, yeah, I see you. We're going to be out there too. I'm like, cool, Mario, come on with us and kick it. I just want 3 people right now who will allow me to use my God-given gift to speak to people. Now, if I start running with you and you put me in casts, you're like, well, I get paid in 2 weeks. No, wrong person for me to do that anymore. But I want to meet with people who have 150. We just, you kind of get this. I'd rather meet with a person who has the money, who says no, than a person who wants to do it but doesn't have the money. Because what is that doing? It's getting you in the same boat. But the person who has the money, you have a chance of saying, look, let me break you off verbally. Because for me, it got into once I knew where I wanted to go, I wanted to get the $1 million home, the big cars and all that. Once I knew, then it became a battle. I woke up every day and I couldn't wait. It was like had to hold me back. When I sat down at the coffee table and I grabbed that pen and paper, it was like unguarded. You know, it was on. And I looked him in the eye and I mastered it while I was just looking at you. I'd eye you down. After so much, you be in such trance, like, you know, you gonna do this for my people too? Like, yes, I'm gonna break them off. We didn't do presentations. We broke people off. You work with anybody who worked with us back then. It's like, man, how many break-offs you got today? It's like, because we realized we had to break up all that junk that was in people's minds. It was like, you know, we're gonna break some folks off today. You know, when we went recruiting, it's like, man, what you doing at Memphis? We're gonna break some folks off. I'm like, and everybody around me grabbed the language. Matter of fact, they got to the point of putting 2-inch cuffs in their hands. And I was like, dang, what custom out? We made Tiger Martin very wealthy. And Mario and them hooked their way. He got a distributor, and they started distributing paying students. You know, like, y'all want that. But you get the point. This is real. This is no joke. And what we have coming, I'm telling you, what we have coming is huge. Y'all get what I'm saying? It's huge. We have to start working now. Don't be those ones who be like, well, once all this other stuff happens, then I'm going to. Well, I already now know that I won't work with you, because faith doesn't happen like that. Faith happens if you're going not knowing what's going to happen. I didn't know the big checks. I didn't know. See, I was told in school, in college, if I made $60,000 a year, that was good money. So when I started bringing home 50, 60, or some 70, some months I went over 100,000 for the month. When I started bringing those checks home a month, then it made me start laughing at even the school system. Like, man, they teaching our kids all wrong. Everybody's, and then you get around others like, well, everybody can't do that. Just because you said it, you won't, but everybody can do that. There's over 1,000 millionaires created a day. So the minute you get in front of somebody who feels like they can't be, it's like, wow, there's 1,000 people. You say you ain't good enough to be in that group of 1,000. I'm sorry, I saw myself as in that group. So now, if an individual can do that a month, can you imagine what the company should be doing? My goal is to make sure that individuals in this room do this a month at least. And when you look at that, the reason I showed the penny that doubles, and in my financial work that doubles, the reason I showed that is because I wanted you guys to really just look at the numbers for a moment. Like, if you actually go to work and do the work, this is actually what happens. So we get the trip. Y'all already seeing it. The vacation, the company car. This group is living witnesses of this. There's a JMG Escalade outside, right? This man drives it. It's his. You get this? It's his. He did the work. So why would you sit back seeing somebody else do it and then be like, well, I ain't gonna do it when he did? That's it, man. See, I look at it like, what, are y'all tripping? I'm like, the minute I seen somebody else do it, that'll make me kick my game up. You know, and trust me, and thank God as I'm even married today with kids, it's like, I was so focused that my wife couldn't even speak to me. I was that dedicated to it. I was just like, man, I'm just gonna go do this. It was just like, it didn't matter, nobody. I was so focused on doing it. Then when I did it, you know what it is? It told me. People come and tell me, oh, you sure that's gonna work? Man, I don't think that's what you're supposed to be doing. Oh, the way you know the word of God, you're supposed to be in church teaching. I'm like, I am teaching. The difference is, because of what I'm teaching, and I put the word of God in it, I'm hitting a bigger and broader audience. So you just said salary cap myself, but they do it in good intentions. But everybody wants to tell you what you can't do because of their own vision and their own frame of mind. I'm telling you, you are all multimillionaires. Forget a million. A million is not enough. Only a millionaire will tell you that, though, that a million is not enough. I made $1 million and found out once I made it, it was not enough. You get this? You want to add the word multi, because we are multiplying everything about us. When you are a millionaire, that means you multiplied your assets. If you just made $1 million, you lucked up and played in the NBA or something and got cut the year later. And you will find over time, think about it, $1 million over 30 years, $30,000 a year market. Right? Make $1 million every 2-3 years. that's a different ballgame. Guys, I want you to win. I want you to get ahead in life. Without further ado, I get to bring up Mr. Newman Thomas.
Man,
I'm excited. My goodness. Give it up for Paulie for being an amazing leader. An amazing leader and really encouraging us. You could just feel his passion of where he wants to take us. And I don't know about you, but I want to go. So that leads me into his style of leadership and the question that I had to ask myself in the shadows of the inauguration and Martin Luther King Day. I had to go and look myself in the mirror. And when you look yourself in the mirror, what do you see? Who do you see there? That's the question I had to ask myself. And when I looked myself in the mirror, I asked myself, why should I follow you? Ask yourself that right now. Why should I follow you? What makes you so special that I should follow you? So I started to think, what are the things that people look for when because people don't necessarily they follow movements. And JMG Network is a movement. And with that movement, there are some key components that are necessary for those that want to follow. One of them is character. Okay? Our character, the pattern of our behavior, and our moral constitution defines us. It guides our approach for dealing with ourselves and others. We understand JMG Network is being a company of integrity. It has an outstanding character. We know from what we should be learning, and from the Tuesday night presentations that we even have an A+ rating. So our character is amazing. Our character follows the character of the Word of God because of our leader. Why should I follow you? Character. Another one that I had to ask myself, communication. Are we going TTP? Are we talking to people? We tend to trust and follow those who share appropriate information willingly, listen to and accept our ideas, and identify with our struggles, joys, and environment. I like to think of this as the sandwich approach, where people are scared when you just throw something brand new at them. But if you sandwich it, if you sandwich the unfamiliar in between the familiar, people are more apt to listen. When you communicate about their identity with their struggles, what we learned that several times in training, where I had to learn this personally, where I had to stop talking so much and start listening to what people were saying, because they will tell you everything that they need. And then we just have to say, well, we have a vehicle to get you to that need. That's identifying with their struggle. They're willing to follow that. So I had to ask myself that, communicating with myself. What do you want? Getting in touch with my why. So the third one, consistency, goes right into what Paulie was talking about. Consistency creates confidence and allows others to predict our future performance and response. Consistency also frees others from worry about protecting themselves. And it marks the difference between occasional brilliance and unmistakable excellence. When we're like the three full-time, being full-time, or having just a full-time mentality, being everywhere you move, you're on the phone, or everywhere you move, you're handing out cards or doing something else, being consistent in the way that you operate your business. This is the one that I really love. The consistency frees others from worry about protecting themselves. We understand. We talk to people. We've been shut down. That's a huge thing. Thinking that, oh, I got to give up all of this. I got to give up all the things that make me think that I'm comfortable. But that's the question. You should ask people, why are you comfortable? Yeah. Well, would you like more? Yeah. Well, if you like more and you're comfortable, something has to give. Either you're not or you are. But being consistent, they see you moving and shaking. It will give them the confidence of, hey, the one thing that I may know if I follow this guy is that he's not going, or lady, that they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop at doing what they said they were going to do in the beginning. So why should I follow you? Being consistent. The last one is courage. Leaders don't let the past determine the future. Articulating and pursuing clear, relevant, and meaningful vision creates alignment and allegiance. People want to know where they're going. They don't just want you to say, I'm going this way, catch up. They really want you to walk with them. They want you to be there with them, to guide them. They're looking for guidance as a leader. And this is in this one, I asked this question. When I looked myself in the mirror, I had to say, what do you see when you look in the mirror? Do you see a leader or do you see a manager?
That's good.
And I had to really look, because the frustrations come, we all know that, it's part of the thing, but that goes into the courage of not letting the past determine the future. I'm riding this till the wheels fall off, rusted, burnt, any other thing that you can think of. So with that, I had to say, okay, well, am I managing or am I leading? Why should I follow you? So I pulled this up. This is just some of them. I don't know if you can read it that well. People online probably can't really see this, but I highlighted a few of them. Where you have a subject. What is that? Is it this one? We have the subject here. This column is leader, what leaders do, and this column is what managers do. But some of them I highlighted here that just stood out to me. If the subject is essence, the essence of a person, the essence of what they value, a leader's essence is to bring change. That's so bomb to me. But a manager's essence is to bring stability, just getting you to a level to stay there.
Mm-hmm.
But a leader wants to continually change that level. Like Paulie said, we don't want to just be millionaires. We want to be multi-billionaires. And then in the years to come, we'll be multi-billionaires. Another one that just stood out to me is energy. Leaders have the energy of passion. They come from here. Where managers, they just want to control things. Culture. Leaders shape culture. Look at President Obama. Look at Dr. Martin Luther King. These were leaders that shaped a culture. Managers enact culture. They say, well, this is what we've done all this time. We're just going to keep doing that.
Mm-hmm.
No. And this was really my favorite. Style, the leader style. The leader style is transformational. Woo! That gives me shivers. The leader style is transformational. The manager style is transactional. Do you understand that? As leaders, we have to create other people who can do this thing, who can have these qualities. I like this one too, conflict. A leader uses conflict. A manager avoids it. Think about it. Think about yourself. This training beat me up. And I'm glad that it did. Because it tapped me back into here. The passion. So, of course, it brings me to well, I have so many favorite quotes. I call it a quote. It's a scripture. But where Jesus, he says in Matthew 4:19, come follow me. Jesus said, and I will make you fishers of men. That underlying word right there. He will make you. He's not going to manage you. He's going to make you. As leaders, we can't manage the people that choose to follow us. We have to lead them. And by leading them, we have to make them, encourage them, push them to the next level. We see that in nature. Everybody knows why geese fly in a V? If you don't, I'm going to tell you. Geese fly in a V because they actually are helping each other. It's about wind resistance. But the one that's in the front is taking all of the beating of the wind. The ones in the back of the V, you know what they do when you hear all that whack, whack, whack? You know what that is? They're encouraging the one in the front to keep going. But this is the amazing thing about it. When that one in the front gets tired, he goes to the back, and another leader from that V will come up and keep going. I'll take the reins. I'll take the reins. That's what we're building here. Something that will just continually to go and go and go and go. And the person that you bring in will take it to the next level. Their person that they bring in will take it to the next level. Not limiting our sky. I say that. The sky's the limit, but don't limit your sky.
That's right.
We have to follow Jesus, the greatest leader that ever walked this earth. Come follow me, and I'll make you fishers of men. Understand your leading, how you lead. If you're not in the leading, if you feel like you're not leading, start leading. Reevaluate the things that you may be doing. Don't be a manager. Be a leader. We have to make people leaders. We have to make them fishers of men. It's a form of discipleship. So I'm really pumped. I'm really excited, and I'm gracious to bring up the next person that I feel is an amazing leader that can teach you. So when he talks, please listen. Please listen. And if you have a pen, paper, please take it out, because he gets downloads sometimes, and you want to take note of that. But this is an amazing man who loves people and loves seeing people succeed. So if you can, welcome Senior Director Chow Lei.
Well, good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing?
Right.
Before we get started, how about everyone to stand up and stretch? If you need to go to the bathroom, we had 2 speakers this morning already. If you need to go to the bathroom, how about we take about 3 minutes? Ladies, 3 minutes. That's it. 3 minutes. And then we'll get started. That's right. You gotta get your attention. We broke it down, everybody getting serious, getting medicine about it.
I don't need one day. Right. Yeah.
Let's see what you see now. You watching the screen.
I'm sweating, I'm pumped. What's good? What you got? Some of this fat news, something, man. Some of this on the side. You don't lost it all.
Trying, man. It's hard to get body from. You pick me up, come on.
All right, everybody. I think in about 3 minutes we're getting moving. How's everybody doing today?
Yeah.
Everybody's up at it. Mind right? Because let me tell you, I was driving a Porsche Panamera Turbo recently. And I don't know about you, but this thing gets about 250, 260 top speed.
Wow.
So when I was going down the ramp, right, I could feel going on the freeway, the suspension tightening up. And it was going, and I was comfortable. And then I looked down, I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm going 110 miles an hour in a 55. And I didn't notice this because when I'm driving my SUV, it goes up about 1/3, right? And you're at about 55, 60 miles an hour. But in a Porsche, at 1/3, it's going at about 100, 110. Okay? And then I was thinking about that for a second, and I was like, you know what? I need to slow down. I'm going to get penalized. I was like, well, wait a minute. This machine here is made to drive so much better at higher speeds than the average car. When I go around corners, this car basically tells you. You know how sometimes you're going around a corner and the car tells you you're going around a corner too fast, and the instinct is kind of slow down. That's gonna get a fish tail and all that, but you gotta speed up. But most cars can't even do that. Like, as you go around a corner, you feel it right away. Like, it's not gonna go. This car is just like, don't worry about it. You need to slow down. If anything, speed up, because I have this corner just right. But then I think about that mentality, and then also that at that speed is like at 1/3. Usually at 1/3, I'm going at what all the other rate is. But in this vehicle right here, it's past the speed limit, and people aren't used to that. But then again, who doesn't want a Porsche? So then I start thinking about this business, and then I go back and I start thinking about soulmate. Before I got married, I went to premarital counseling. I remember one of the first things they would talk about. Laura goes, my pastor looks at Laura and goes, so what do you think of Chow? Laura goes, Chow's my soulmate. And the pastor looks at me and I was like, and I seriously gave that face too. I think I mastered this face where it's like when I don't agree with something, you know right away, and I'm like, he goes, so Chow, and he had that book I was telling you about last week, the 5 love languages. He had that book prepared to give to me because apparently I didn't communicate love the way my wife would understand. And he goes, Chow, it's like, how come you don't believe in the soulmates? I was like, the idea sounds nice, but soulmates. He goes, because I look at my wife and look at my marriage the same way I look at my business, and my pastor goes, you can't fire your wife, Chow. No, Pastor, I understand that part. But I see so many people today, go around painting this romanticized version of marriage alone. All right? So when I talk about marriage, think about your business as well, okay? Because I think about the both interchangeably. And I go, you know what? So many people go, oh, that's my soulmate. That's my soulmate. That's my soulmate. We're going to be together forever. You know, BFFs, forever. And then, when hard times come, maybe this wasn't the person that the Lord wanted to have in my life. Because now that other person, you know, looks so much more attractive. Do you understand what I'm saying? And the whole essence of, this is out of my control. This is out of my control. Maybe the Lord wanted me to be with this person, so then, like, these errors or these mistakes that's going on over here, it doesn't happen. I go, Pastor, that's the way I see these things today. When I look at my wife, man, when I say that I look at her, look at this marriage, look at business, like, I'm making this decision that every day that I wake up, I'm going to choose her. Every moment when things get tough, I'm going to choose her every moment. Even if, because do you guys realize that when things get tough in a relationship, you get around somebody that goes, oh man, see, I told you. 50% of marriages, they like go down. And it's like, and immediately your mind goes that direction. Even if you don't want to think that, your mind immediately goes that direction. It's like every second that things go bad or not so good in a relationship, I constantly, I choose you. How do we make it through this? How do we make it through this? It's like, Pastor, that's where it is. That's the same thing with your business that's going on today. All right? It's the commitment that you make to it. Saw this thing is a little funny. Some people like kittens. All right? And the bottom it says, what? Success is largely a matter of hanging on after others have let go. That's it. Some of you have heard me. It's like, what is a big thing about success? You know, what is the big things about success? You hang on. And then people start letting go of things. Right? And what you have left, they go, oh man, you're really successful. Really successful. You didn't do anything more than what you were asked to do in the very beginning. Hang on. That's it. It's simple instructions with this business. So as we go, we take a look at that. How do we look at each other? Don't react to how you think people see you. We walk up to people all the time, and we have this image of ourselves, right? And we keep on reacting to what people think of ourselves. But instead, we should project on people how you see yourself. Paul said today, you know, in this company, if you're part of this company, you're doing what you're supposed to do, you're going to become multi-millionaires. Do we see that in ourselves as we walk up to other people? Or are we limiting what we're communicating because we can't see ourselves in that light? The message is really simple today. And Paul sent out a message, a text. I'm pretty sure everybody got it, you know. And the text, I'm going to paraphrase it, said, so many people are after big money. After big money and ignore little monies that are around us. But it's the little monies that compound itself to be big monies. And it's master the little. In this new year, we have a lot of things that we're going after. Right? People focus on this big thing. I'm going to lose 100 pounds. You know, I'm going to make $1 million tomorrow. Or something like that. But master the little. In the next 7 days, forget next year's plan, forget everything else. This week, because I keep hearing this at the beginning of the year about the weight thing. Lose 1 pound this week. 1 pound. If that's what you want to do, if you want to lose 1 pound. If you're gaining weight, you want to get stronger, okay, lift 1 more pound this week. That's it. 1 more pound this week. And then next week, after you master this, repeat it again. Lose 1 more pound. Master losing 1 more pound. Master lifting 1 more pound. However you want to do it. Master making $1 more. Because once you start doing this, and you start getting better at this, your mind starts speeding up. Right? Everything you get used to. Because in a year, how many weeks there? 52? Am I 52? Yeah. You master losing that 1 pound after 52 weeks, you've lost 52 pounds. You're over halfway there to losing 100 pounds. But you keep on going at losing 100 pounds. Right now, your body can't handle what a person does at 100 pounds less. But you can reach and get to that next part, right? If you just do that. If you just do that. So master the little. Put your pride aside.
Yes.
Put your pride aside immediately. And this is a lot to do with when you're seeking knowledge and wisdom. When we ask questions, are you asking questions? Or are you prepping yourself to not look less favorable? Let me give you an example. A person walks into a bank, wants to get a house, but is afraid they're not qualified to get the house. So going back and react to how people might think about us, right? So instead of asking the question, what do I need to do to qualify to get a loan for a house? Questions usually come off like this. I've been really trying to get a house for a long time. I'm not sure how to get a house. The person, all right, this person that's asking it now. So I make this much money, and I don't think that a person that makes this much money can qualify for a house. And the credit score, I'm not sure what my credit score is, but last year when I checked, it was kind of good enough, so I think it's good, and man, I don't think I qualify for a house. And never even makes it to the banker. It happens every single day. Every single day, in every area of everybody's lives.
I believe you'll get the house.
What is that? Put your pride aside. If you're going to ask a question, ask the question. That's it. How do I get a house? That person is trained in every which way to explain to you how you go about getting a house, and all the missing pieces are there. It's not what you know, it's what you don't know. You know all the things that can't get you a house. But you're seeking knowledge and wisdom from someone who does. So stop looking at yourself less favorable when you're in favor. It's right now. Amen? Now hold that one back.
Yeah.
So put your pride aside. Ask the question just to ask the question to help yourself grow. Nobody is out there judging you more harshly than you're judging yourself on a constant basis. So whether it's a house, whether it's a car, whether it's building this business or whatnot, how do I do this better? Okay, take that advice and run with it. Face your fears. I told you my message is really simple today. A dark room where negatives are developed. What's making you afraid of whatever it is? Think about that quick. Your pride and your fear. I'm touching and giving different examples. We talk about this all the time. But I'll give you a great example, I believe, regarding the pride thing and how people don't get to the answers they're looking for and acquiring that information they're looking for to move forward. With that fear, what is it that you're really afraid of when you walk up to a person and talk to them? Is it that the response is from them or the fact that you're not sure what to say? And a lot of times, I bet on the fact that most people don't know what to say. But once again, you're going into a conversation to ask a person if they would like to join you in a business, right? That's a very lucrative opportunity. You want to know that, but we carry on this whole fear of not knowing the next question that comes up, right? Or what else to say, or how to respond to a person once they ask something we might not even know. That happens a lot. Who? All right. I feel like I'm losing some people. Who has walked up to somebody anywhere to ask them out on a date before? What are the two answers that you can possibly get?
Yes or
no.
Yes or no. What are we afraid of?
The no.
Huh? The no?
What if they say yes?
Right there. We all know they can say no, but what if they say yes? The conversation needs to go further. That's why most guys don't approach. Take a study. Take a study. It's not so much the no part. It's what if that person says yes. The conversation goes on. Because usually it's kind of like this. You have a pack of guys over here, right? He goes, I bet you ask that girl out, she'll like she's gonna go. So he's like, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. I bet you if I ask her out, she's gonna say yes. We walk over and she says no. You can go back to your group of guys. When she says yes, you continue on that conversation. What is it that we're afraid of, and what are the answers that we're seeking? You know. Some of us, it's with our spouses. We become so used to the lifestyle that we live each and every day that now one of us wants to go, you know what, I'm missing out on something more. You know? It has nothing to do with the lack of our relationship, but I want to go do something more. And we're afraid of telling our spouse, and because we're afraid of telling our spouse, we are afraid of acting out in such a manner to live out that lifestyle. With some of us, it's with our friends. Same thing. We're afraid of saying, hey guys, you know, I like the feeling of barely stepping on a pedal and I'm going 110 miles an hour. You know, with my business, man, I'm redlining to the point where I'm overheating and I can't even get up to 110 miles an hour. But my friends over here, they're like that. That's nice. That's nice, and it has nothing to do over here. But I want to move that way. Are we afraid of telling a group that we're used to being around? You know, I walked in this morning and I asked, "Hey, Paulie, how you doing?" He goes, "Yeah, I think things are great. There's some other things, you know, that aren't so great. I tell you, but nobody really cares." You know, and I respect that type of response so much because it's so real. I can be going through a million things, but I'll tell you what, you're not going through those million things. So as much as you want to empathize, you have your weight to carry. I have my weight to carry. When we get together, we should do more with each other, not dump a whole load of things together. Look at this. Now let's share this load that nobody wants to carry, but we'll carry it together. Nobody wants to do that. What are your fears? And let's face them. And let's face them right now and go up against it and eliminate it. And how do you face it? Because most of the things that's daunting in your minds right now is not daunting at all. Or if it is, it's only a pound, not 100. It's only a pound. So my message is really simple today. If you want to ask a question, ask it without limiting the information that could come back to you. Don't limit what information you can receive by thinking that you're not worthy to get that information. There's many things great, but there's one thing that's great about our service. Just like, you know, with marriage and anything else, usually if you don't want to go to your friends, you know, you go to like a professional counselor, right? It's out of your group, they can look at it objectively. Same thing with my financial worth. You're going to face a lot of people who don't want to disclose their finances to you. They'll tell you all their indiscretion with their neighbors, but you know, they will never talk to you about the money. They have an option. Remind them, you know, because that's a fear that's in everyone's mind, but they won't say it. Like, look, you have professionals you can call on basically 24/7, depending on where you are. You know, just call them up and seek that advice without feeling like you're being judged. You're not gonna meet that person really anyways, unless you seek them out. Tony with an eye. Okay, that's the message right there. If you're asking, if you're gonna ask a question, ask it without limiting what can come back.
That's right.
And whatever fear it is, ask the question. You're probably gonna eliminate it anyways. The next person I bring out is probably gonna elaborate on this because spirit flows nicely. All right. He received a check this week because of the work he did last week, and it's that consistency that constantly, you know, has to lead us in a way where we go, you know what? I choose this business. Last week I was laughed at. Pretty sure he was laughed at. Paulie said he was laughed at. And we keep on going. You get all your no's. You get all your no's. But eventually, you're going to hone in on what you can do and find people that can do things. Right? There are a lot of things when you first start out that you find that you can't do. But focus on the things you can do. And this guy, 1 pound at a time, $1 at a time, is just stacking it up. So everybody, welcome Brother William Locke.
You know, in the course of my years, I've discovered something that people really have a fear of success.
Mm-hmm.
Because as Child just mentioned, what if it works? And what I've discovered that fear is in dealing with the clients that come through the program is that it redefines who you are. It redefines the perception that other people have of you. So therefore, you find comfort and safety in people just looking at you as being a failure or somebody that doesn't measure up, because then once you exceed that, now you got to constantly produce. Now you got to go to a higher level. And the fear is, can I live up to that? So it's safety in staying in your mind and the eyes of other people as a letdown, a failure. But we don't subscribe to that mindset. And I didn't subscribe to that mindset when I didn't have money, and I don't subscribe to that mindset now that I do have some money. But what's interesting is people. People will observe. So when you didn't have money, then they had their opinion of what you shouldn't do, how you should live. Then once you become successful, they still have an opinion of you. That opinion is, oh, well, that's just for you. You're lucky like that. Oh, everybody can't be like you. So therefore, they have opinion whether you're successful or not, right? But who does it benefit when you become successful? It's not a trick question, y'all. Yourselves. So therefore, why not live the life that you want to live? Because regardless of what you do, people are still going to have their opinion. But the question is, what is it that you want to do? So this morning, I'm working on something. What are you working on? See, I'm working on my future. I'm working on a lifestyle that I can hand down to the next generation. I'm working on expanding the expectation of my children. See, my children don't know lack. Only thing they know is abundance. So therefore, their expectation is always in abundance. They don't see, now, what you mean, Dad, you can't just go to the ATM, just write a check, just pay cash for it. You know, that's all they know. So they are expecting to live at a much higher level. And I don't look at them as being spoiled. I look at them as being in a position that I wasn't afforded to be in when I was growing up. You know, to be able to provide them things so that they didn't understand what it was like, you know, moving around, moving from state to state because, you know, the rent didn't get paid, you got evicted. You just think you're going to a new place. It was all exciting. But there was other things going on behind the scenes. So I didn't want to expose my children to that lifestyle. So they don't know that. The only thing they know is that if I want something, my daddy can get it for me. And I'm all right with that because they're my children. And you ain't got to pay for it, so why should you be bent out of shape?
That's right.
Because I understand that I'm trying to build a legacy. And therefore, I want to expand their mindset, just like I want to expand your mindset this morning. So what are you working on? What's important to you? You know, so the question is, what are you willing to do to get it? If what you're working on is real to you, what are you willing to do to get it? See, I know what I have to do. When Brother Paulie was talking about it, when you focus on a goal, just sometimes, you know, the people that are closest to you, they get blurry. They get out of sight because you're so focused, like having tunnel vision. And when you focus on building something and living a life of success because, you know, the ones that are close to you are important to you, sometimes they get neglected. But that's not because your heart ain't in the right place, because your heart is in the right place. Because you're trying to build something for them. But then it's always nice when you can, you know, come back. Because you ain't never really left. But then you're able to do things for your family. Send them to schools that, you know, everybody can't afford to send their children to. Have them in communities and neighborhoods and go on vacations and do things, you know, that most folks aren't able to afford to do. But guess what, y'all? The heart and passion of this company is to make those choices available to everyone. It's not enough just to be able to enjoy that lifestyle by yourself. When you know that you have something that is so simple, so powerful, that can truly transform the lives of people, and the only thing that gets in the way is what Child just taught on this morning is the fear. So really, it's about conquering that fear. And just like that picture of that cat, that kitten holding on, you have to hold on, regardless of what people may say, regardless of who signs up and quits on you. You don't think that happened to me? You don't think that happened to Paulie, Child? You don't think that happens in the course of doing business? Because somebody bought a McDonald's burger and then didn't like it and then went to Burger King, do you think that McDonald's said, well, obviously it doesn't work, so let's close down?
Right.
Because somebody signed up or somebody didn't sign up, you think that your business isn't real? That's why we teach on inner strength. That's why we teach on having confidence and, being, committed to your business, because truly that is going to be the difference in the success in your JMG business. Your commitment and your confidence in what it is that we're here to do. And you combine that with your belief in what it is that you're working towards. Those are the things that keep you going in the face of people telling you what doesn't work. But again, they're going to have their opinion, right or wrong, with you or against you. They're still going to have an opinion. But I'm talking about living your reality. So to me, family's important. So that I can provide the proper education to prepare my children for the future. So that the security is there. So that we don't have the fear of something being taken away. So that we don't have the fear of not being able to provide, the clothing, the shelter, the food. So these things are important to me. So when I'm working my JMG business and I'm looking at you and I'm talking to you and I'm committed to your success, because I understand that the only way that money is generated through this business is to serve others, to help others to become successful. One thing that I know to be true about Brother Paul Jones is the fact that when he said that he, not only was he working full time and made this money, but he also helped others to make money and become millionaires. That ain't no hype. That ain't no conversation. That's reality. Because one thing that I know about this brother is that his passion is to truly help others to become financially free. And so often you get people that just have conversation. They just talk about the things that they want to do, but then the actions aren't consistent with the words coming out of their mouth. That's one thing that you won't find with this brother. Because his commitment to who he is greater than disappointing somebody, because he's going to tell you the truth, even though you may not want to hear it, but he's going to tell you the truth and he's going to make that commitment. When he says, I'll work with you from sun up to sundown, but one thing that he won't do is if he sees the individual's not as committed and willing to work their business, then he'll distance himself, because he will not sow in the unfertile ground, because of his conviction to who he is. And when you know you have something that is real, and you know that people have a need, and people express that they want to change their lives, you get excited, because you know you have something of substance that is real, that will work if the people only work. And I want to leave a legacy. So Proverbs 13:22, a good man leaves an inheritance to his children, but the wealth of the sinner is stored up for the righteous. Now we done broke down the connection with that scripture to the talents, okay? So we stand on principles rooted in the Word of God. So this word says that a good man leaves an inheritance. So we want to be able to leave an inheritance. Right. We don't subscribe to the mindset, well, I had to work for it, so you got to work for it. What is wrong with giving your children a hand up in life so that they start at a higher plateau with the expectation, because of the wisdom and knowledge that you instilled in them, to take it to the next level? You don't ever want to do something because we're only here, on this planet for a short period of time. But those that were pioneers, that blazed the trail, we still talk about their lineage. We still talk about their names. Like the Ford, the Rothschilds, where they weren't always wealthy families, but somebody along the line made a decision. Either they did it by hook or crook or whatever they did, they made a decision until they finally got somebody in the family to legitimize the money. But we ain't talking about scams or schemes or anything that's illegal. We're talking about something that people need. We're talking about something that, is legitimate. We're talking about something that people are familiar with. But we're talking about it in a business system that is designed to benefit you as well as them. So lifestyle, is it a home, a car, vacation, financial freedom? Boy, that Porsche is nice. It's beautiful. You know, that was my car, you know, a couple years ago. You know, so I got all the specs on it, everything, went out there, test drove it, and all that kind of stuff too. But now my sights is on the Bentley. You know, that's the car. You know, Tony and another individual came in yesterday talking, we just went to the Bentley dealership, we saw your car. I said, I received that.
Yeah, that's right.
Because I can see me in that car too. You know, I just love these Mediterranean style homes. You know, that's just me. I just love it, you know. So is it a new home? You know, that one is nice. And I know that's probably about, you know, 12,000 square foot home. You know, that's the kind of homes I like. I don't like, you know, 1,500, 2,000 square feet. It's just not big enough for me. But that's just me, you know. But that's all right, because I'm willing to pay the price. I'm willing to do the work, because that's what I want. What is it that you're working on? Working is a key word, is the operative word in that sentence. Working. That's an action word. A new car. Is it to be able to take a trip or a vacation? You know, doesn't that look so peaceful, so beautiful? You know, actually it looks like, you know, Fiji. And if this was Fiji, my lot is like right here, overlooking the ocean. Isn't that beautiful? I mean, can't you see yourselves taking an exotic vacation, going somewhere? See, I do, but I just don't sit back and dream about stuff. I just figure out a way to make it a reality.
That's right.
And that's not just because everything is just handed down. It's because I understand that God has given me the gifts and the talents. And why should I squander them? Why should I sit back and allow fear in other people's doubt and disbelief to overshadow what my faith says? So therefore, I understand that all I need to do is have the proper, you know, the right vehicle in order to be the conduit. Because the only thing I need to do is apply what God has already given me. What I want y'all to understand is that your destiny has already been ordained. Your seat has already been reserved in the seat of millionaires in J&G. Now, what's going to make it a reality is what you do, the work that you put into it. Because when something has already been ordained, that means it already exists. But it's our actions, it's our walk, it's what we do on a daily basis that makes it a reality. And I don't want to just live in no fantasy land. Like I said, I'll pay the cost to be the boss. And I have no shame about it. You know, so I'm not just talking about material things. I'm just not just talking about which one is the Firefox or the Chrome.
Internet Explorer.
But I want to take some more folks, because there's seats already reserved on this voyage. So since the seats are already reserved and somebody got to occupy it, you just have to see yourself in that seat. Then you just have to go out and do the work. And yes, I know that you've been working at it, but continue to be faithful and committed at working at it, because you don't know when the harvest is going to come. You don't know when the favor is going to flow, and all of a sudden you find that one individual, that second individual, that third individual. You may find one defines the three. But you always have to be diligent at working at it. So I'm going to play this short video for y'all. Well, money makes me excited. Open up your heart, let me see.
Children of the sky, I love. Don't take no for an answer, no, no. I right here, spread love.
See, I just want to get y'all juices flowing this morning.
Everybody jump together.
Did y'all feel that? I mean, because I see that's where we're going. You know, when we're talking about building this $1 billion company, as we're going about doing the work, see, I watch the words that come out of my mouth. You know, I got to be consistent with what I say, and I need to make faith confession. So there is no doubt. So as we're working to build this $1 billion company, that will be the lifestyle, you know, the expectation, you know, the private jet, you know, the tour bus. And that's where we're headed. Now, that's my vision, you know, that lifestyle. But what I believe, and this is just me, I believe that God created me to live that type of lifestyle. And how do I know that? Because if he didn't, I wouldn't desire it. See, what you desire is different than what I desire. True? Because most of y'all may not desire that type of lifestyle. But I do. That's because I know that I was created to live it.
That's right.
And I know that I have the gifts and the talent in order to make it a reality. How do I know that? Because it wouldn't be a desire, because the word says, I will grant you the desires of your heart. So if I didn't have the ability to make it a reality, I wouldn't desire it. And it wouldn't be there for me to desire if it wasn't already created. Oh, Lord.
Go ahead and teach.
Y'all got to understand what I'm talking about this morning. What I'm talking about is reality. I'm not talking about fantasy. I'm talking about reality. I'm talking about having a vehicle and an opportunity that truly creates the reality of what it is that you desire. I don't care what it may feel like right now. I don't care how it may look right now. Because right now ain't what we want, is it?
That's right.
So if right now isn't what we want, why accept the reality of right now? What we have to be willing to do is to work towards the unseen. By working towards the unseen, which creates the reality of what it is that you want. Do you see how people get tricked? They look at the temporary situation as though it's a permanent condition.
Right.
So therefore, they never do the work to change it because they've already adopted the philosophy that this is their reality for the rest of their lives. So then they create a self-fulfilling prophecy, you know, where people been telling folks all their lives that you'll never amount to this, or you'll never do this, or you'll never have that. So guess what? They never do what's necessary in order to change the situation. So therefore, they create the reality. I always got to go back to the word. Because this is where I get my confidence from. This is where I get my strength from. Then God said, let us make man in our image, according to our likeness. Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over the cattle, over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth. So when I read that let us make man in our image, that means we're made in the image and the likeness of God, the Creator.
Greatness.
And then when I read that he breathed the breath of life by putting his spirit in us, so that means we got God in us. So who am I to question and doubt the Creator? Who am I to allow other people to manipulate me, to tell me who I ain't when they didn't create me? Because they didn't create themselves. I had a young man in my office the other day, and he's a Muslim brother. And he was just, sharing some of his, knowledge with me, and he was talking about repentance. And he was telling me a story of a man that had killed 99 people. And he went to this one individual and said, will God forgive me and allow me to enter into heaven, even though I've killed 99 people? And the guy told him, no. So he killed him. So he went to the next person and said, I've killed 100 people. And will God forgive me and allow me into heaven? Well, I let him tell the story, but then I had to explain to him. I said, you know what? The problem is that they're trying to give you their understanding of God. None of us can give you the understanding of God, because God is who he is. So therefore, it's a scenario where how are you going to tell me that God is going to forgive or not forgive? And you're only telling me your own opinion for your own purpose and reason. Now, my relationship between God and I, that's where I go to. I don't go to man, because man doesn't have the power to forgive. But that is how people manipulate people. Because you did this, God won't forgive you. Or because you did this, God will forgive you. Only thing we can do is stand on the word, because you never know what a person will do with their last breath. So how can you say whether or not they're going to go to heaven or hell when you don't have the power to put them in either one? Uh-oh. Then God blessed them, and God said to them, be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it. Have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over every living thing that moves on the earth. So God gave us a mandate. He gave us power and authority over this earth. It doesn't say that he just gave it to the Fords. He just gave it to the Crocs. He just gave it to any one particular group. So therefore, why limit yourself? Why put yourself in a box like Brother Paulie was talking about? Put a cap on your ability. Put a cap on what you're able to produce. That's man-made. That's why I don't subscribe to my man's interpretation and understanding. That's why I got to read it and know it for myself. Because man may have his own personal agenda, which is usually to manipulate and control, to maintain power and authority over. So just in that analogy that I was using in the story. Now, the man that he went to was trying to still maintain control over him by telling him whether or not God was going to forgive him or not. And depending upon his understanding, which he said, no, you don't have the power. That's why he killed him. But he was still looking and seeking man's approval, man's understanding. But it's about your own personal understanding. It's about your own personal relationship. That's why it's about personal growth in this business. Because once you develop yourself as an individual with the confidence and the belief and the commitment in your JMG business, then you will begin to experience the movement and the increase in your business. Because why? Because people aren't joining JMG. They're joining you.
That's right.
That's why you have to become the individual that you want to attract. Because people are looking for somebody that has confidence, somebody that has belief. And when you have confidence and belief in the product and what it is that we're doing through JMG Network, then guess what? People will begin to line up to sign up under you. That's the difference. But it's in all of your forms of communication, which I've taught on in the past. Your nonverbals as well. When I talk to people, I'm talking to people about what it is that I know to be true.
Mm-hmm.
Now, whether or not they receive it, that don't change what I say. That don't change what I feel. Because I understand that there's a personal conversations going on, which is about that fear, that doubt. Like Brother Paul was saying, it's really breaking people off because you got to break them chains that's been on their minds that's kept them in bondage for all their lives. So here you come that may be a complete stranger telling them some new information. Quite naturally, they're going to be skeptical about what it is you're saying. That's why you have to have the confidence in the belief. Because then that will begin to erode and what they've been trained. Because you can't tell me that what I'm doing isn't real when I'm enjoying the fruit of it. When the reality is there. See, I ain't talking about fiction. And that's what you usually get from people. You know, hypothetical conversations based upon something that's not real. But I'm talking about something that is real.
That's right.
So which one are you going to really believe? The reality or the perception? See, I want to stay awake rather than be a sleeping dreamer. I'd rather stay awake and enjoy the reality of life and what life has to offer. So I challenge you, can we do this? If you put your mind to it, and we all speak the same language, and that is 3 this week. Just like in Nehemiah's vision of seeing the wall restored, which protected his people and represented their dignity. The people joined in the vision by having a mind to work and the commitment to do what was asked. Are you willing to commit and work hard for your future? Are you willing to commit and work hard for your future?
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't say, are you willing to commit and work hard for my future?
Mm-hmm.
Are you willing to commit and work hard for your future, a future that you believe in, a future that you truly desire? So I ask you again, are you willing to commit and work hard for your future?
Yes, sir.
Okay, 2 of y'all are. I may have heard 3. That's all we need is 3. There must come a time in your life where you must fight for your future, and the future is those that are important to you. Now is that time, and now is your future. Why delay? You know, it's amazing when you talk to folks and they talk about, well, you know, I'll wait till this happens or I'll wait till that happens. I spoke with a guy last week, and his response to me was, you know, now it's 150, you know, the people I know can't afford it. Then he's going to try to make the suggestion, why don't I pay it forward? I'm like, manipulation. I paid it forward, backwards, sideways, up and down. But the thing that got me thinking was that he's talking about it because he used the word, the ghetto. And I started thinking, they got cell phones in the ghetto.
Right.
They got cable in the ghetto.
Jordan.
You know, they got all of these material things in the ghetto, but it's a question of what value do people put on their future? Do they trade, you know, their future for having some temporary gains right now? So that's what we're coming up against, the mentality of people. You know, they can justify by going out and spending $150 at the casino or wherever else, but they can't see spending $150 and set themselves financially free.
Right.
I'll never subscribe to that mindset. Never. It just ain't in me. You know. So I hope y'all got what I'm trying to share with you this morning, because I really appreciate this opportunity that we have. See, prior to coming to JMG, I still lived a nice lifestyle. That's who I am. But I got excited because I saw for the first time a vehicle to help others enjoy the lifestyle that God has blessed me to be able to enjoy. So I'm really passionate about helping people change their lives, but not beyond their commitment, not beyond their own passion for their own goals and dreams. Because I'm trying to do something now. Because like I said, I'm working on something now. I ain't working on no 5 to 10 year plan. I'm working on something now because tomorrow's not promised. So therefore, I need to build it now so I can create that legacy. But in the event tomorrow does come, don't you want to be found working? Don't you want to continue to build?
That's right.
You know, think of the sad story of all those doomsday believers. You know, thought it was going to end, you know, in 2012. They woke up to the reality the next day, like, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? Because I've been living to die. Let's live to live because we all going to die one day. So why focus on death when we can focus on life?
That's right.
God bless.